"Are you all right?" Kevin asked. "Yes. Tell me what you told the police." "The truth." He toyed with my hand for a moment silently. I looked at him, found him watching me. "If you told those deputies the truth," I said softly, "you'd still be locked up. In a mental hospital." "Do you have any scars? Any marks of injuries past? Are they all physical, or do some exist somewhere tucked away in your psyche?" Octavia Butler's science fiction novel, Kindred, opens with its protagonist, Dana, describing how she lost her arm. What follows is the mysterious, time-bending story of this injury. Dana, who lives in 1976, about a decade after the victories of the Civil Rights Movement, is brought back to the antebellum South, where black people were bought and sold as property, and the threat of violence was ever present. My grandfather's grandfather was enslaved. They shared a name, a lineage, and the hard soil of Mississippi. My grandfather's grandfather was enslaved. I thought about how I felt pulled closer to the center of the concentric circle of history. My grandfather's grandfather was enslaved. I said it out loud and let it idle on the edge of my lips. My family told me my grandfather's grandfather was born into slavery, and I never knew until I asked. Clint Smith's 2021 book, How the Word is Passed, examines how slavery is remembered and misremembered in America's collective consciousness. He ends the book by reflecting on his own family's history of enslavement, and grapples with how tangible the effects of slavery are in today's world. Through the lens of history, slavery seems like an ancient practice from the far distant past. However, only 5 to 7 generations have passed since emancipation. Dana's travel back to this time makes her witness to the gruesome violence of chattel slavery. She witnesses people beaten and whipped by slave-owning whites. In the midst of this cruelty, she also learns how people were trained to accept slavery. I helped to keep him safe. I was the worst possible guardian for him. A black to watch over him in a society that considered blacks subhuman. A woman to watch over him in a society that considered women perennial children. Dana has a mission when she goes back in time, not unlike the mission of Kyle Reese in The Terminator. She has to protect Rufus Whalen, the white son of a plantation owner whose lineage will eventually lead to her birth. This puts her in the position of the people Rufus's father owns. She's forced to serve Rufus, to nurture him, or she will not survive. However, the red-haired boy whose life she saves eventually turns into a rapist whose brutality leads to Dana's arm injury. Maybe I'm just like a victim of robbery or rape or something. Victim who survives, but who doesn't feel safe anymore. I don't have a name for the thing that happened to me, but I don't feel safe anymore. Dana experiences firsthand the traumas that have been passed down through generations whose ancestors were enslaved. When looking back at the sin of slavery, it is easy to think that time has healed this wound. But forgetting the injury does not make the scar disappear. The history of oppression is present through generational wealth, redlining, and the criminal justice system. It is internalized in the American myth and still affects people's right to self-determination today. It is like getting one's arm crushed inside a wall.
There's not a nation of the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour.